So Dan, going back to the Faceless Men, what are your opinions on Arya? Is she no one or is she Arya? And do you think she will meet up with Jaqen or the guy with the hook nose that is at the Citadel? Or do you think her many-faced story, Faceless Arya, has ran its course?
I think Arya did try to become no one, but deep down, she wasn't able to let go of who she truly was. She also was never able to let go of her past or her family, which we saw when she hit her sword needle that was given to her by Jon. I think the thought of her throwing that sword into the water nearly made her break down into tears. That was something she was never going to be able to part with. But the good thing is she did have some of the skills of no one, which will definitely come into use in the future. I do feel like her story with the Faceless Men may be done, but that doesn't mean we will never see the Faceless Men again. And like you said, they are intertwined with the Citadel, and considering we are supposed to get at least 5 different scenes with the new Maester that was casted, we're going to get a lot of stuff going down in the Citadel, so perhaps Jaqen could still pop up there. There is a popular theory that Jaqen is at the Citadel in order to figure out a way to kill the dragons. Some say he went rogue from the Faceless Men. I don't know if they're going to go into any of this much in the show, but considering, how much time we have left, but he could still end up there. Plus, we know the Iron Bank's coming back for at least 2 episodes, so depending how that plays out, they could end up hiring the Faceless Men to go collect their debts. Who really knows? But even if Arya and Jaqen never meet again, that doesn't mean the Faceless Men are written off the show just yet.
I am absolutely right with you there. I think Arya's storyline with the Faceless Men is done and dusted. And I think because of that, a lot of people assumed that whole story was done and dusted, but it's not. Jaqen H'ghar is definitely not finished. He has got a lot of unfinished business. People that read the books will know this. I won't go too much into that because this is a show discussion on this panel, but he's got a lot of stuff to do at the Citadel. There's just too much about him that's been left unsaid and questions that have been left unanswered. And I think he's not got just a part to play in season 7. I think he's got a major part to play in season 7, and we will definitely be seeing him again. But as far as Arya goes, I think she's got what she needed essentially from that relationship. And I think she will now go on with those skills and go along her own path. And I don't think Jaqen H'ghar will have an issue with that, actually. That little smile as she left for the final time when she told him where he could shove it. That, I think in a sense that was perhaps his plan all along. Who knows? There's, like I said, many, many unanswered questions as far as Jaqen H'ghar goes.
Well, as you stated, Arya stated that she was now Arya Stark of Winterfell, and I think we all pretty much know that she will be returning to Winterfell in season 7. So she spent so many seasons learning the ways of the Faceless Men, really, even though she didn't know she was from these different situations. But I think the rest of the story arc will be about her reuniting with her family, celebrating that triumph, and her cementing herself by Jon and Sansa's side in the War for Dawn. I definitely think she's going to be one of the greatest warriors in the story. But just a note, Tom Walichka, who plays Jaqen H'ghar, he was filming for season 7, so you might be onto something, Gemma. He could be involved perhaps with the Iron Bank, and perhaps they do reach out to Arya at some point. Maybe that is a thing. But it looks as if he is going to be in season 7. Maybe they won't be so much tied to Arya, but maybe they will.
Well, you guys pretty much summed that up. But I have a question. So there's this popular theory that Arya is dead and the waif is wearing Arya's face. On a scale of 1 to bullshit, what do you think of this theory?
Bullshit.
Fake
bullshit.
news.
Bullshit.
Fake news.
Absolute bullshit. No. There was that Fight Club theory, wasn't there, last year, if you remember? And I was on board with that. I really was. I thought the waif was a figment of Arya's imagination, but she was boring enough at the time. I can't be doing with any more waif. Sorry.
On a scale of 1 to fake news, fake news being me marrying Melisandre, I think it's probably fake news.
Okay, well, since we all agree that it's bullshit, moving right along. So Kyle, since I'm sorry. So Kyle,
Hi, Kyle!
We know in the books that Arya can warg. She can actually warg into Nymeria while she is across the narrow sea. Do you think the show will show us any of Arya's abilities? And do you think she could possibly share some of the same talents as Bran?
I'm going to get a little cheeky here with my first sentence. I think the ship has sailed on that one when she went to Bravos. But each Stark that remains kind of has their own niche or ability that makes them special. Jon is a great commander. Sansa has her beauty. Bran can enter the Weirwood network and work, and I believe this will be unique to him in the show. However, Arya can manipulate her identity, and she has her own unique abilities. So I do not think that any of the other Starks will really get the warg ability in the show. It's a small possibility we may see with Jon because he is so special. He is ice and fire, in my opinion. So I think they're going to stay par for the course to not complicate things so that the show watchers don't get confused on who can do what, because they do know that Bran is special in this respective nature. He is the three-eyed raven. They don't want to start telling people that a bunch of people can be the three-eyed raven and whatnot. So I don't think that's going to be in the show, just to not get show watchers confused. For those of us who have read the books, absolutely, I think there's going to be more of that in the books. I think all of the Stark's magical abilities will become more profound, but this is a show discussion. So I don't think that this is going to happen in the show, but maybe she will have more of a connection with her wolf. We saw that kind of with Robb in the show a little bit when he was petting the back of his neck and stuff like that. Maybe small kind of nods to what was going on in the books, but I don't think it's going to happen in the show.
I don't think they will show any of Arya's warging abilities either. It appears that the show wants to keep all the Starks different, like their different characteristics or powers, so to speak, separate from each other, kind of like what Cal just said, possibly to keep from confusing the audience that isn't as committed to the story that some people are. I would love it if they did do that, don't get me wrong, but this late in the game, it doesn't appear that they're going to do that.
Yeah, I'm on the same page, definitely. It's they've had so many opportunities to show that potential with Jon and Ghost, and they've never chosen to to do that. All of the Stark children in the books, with possibly the exception of Sansa, but I mean, we don't know that that's something that still might manifest in time. All of them are wargs, and Arya is a particularly powerful warg. It's not happening in the show, in my opinion. I agree with both of you. I just think that they want that to be a very special and unique thing for Bran, and I think that's the way it will stay. I think Arya will have a very special bond with Nymeria, and perhaps if she ever does warg, it will be her final act.
I agree with you guys. I don't think we're going to get to see it, and she is probably the most powerful warg that is in the books, so it's kind of sad that they're not doing it. But Gemma, we get this picture released of Arya, and she looks to be somewhere sitting watching someone. Where do you think this is?
She's at an inn. I believe that. There's people behind her, there's a serving tray. Some people have said she's at the Twins, and yeah, the coloring's kind of right, but it looks like an inn to me. Now, there's a couple of possibilities here. If she's at the inn at the crossroads, this is the same inn that Catelyn had Tyrion arrested, and this is where Arya and the Hound killed Polliver and the Tickler. That's south of the Twins, which is where we last saw Arya. So that means she's not heading straight home. Throughout the books, especially when she embarks on her murderous path, she often thinks of her mother, and she wonders if she would want to know her now after the things she's done. So if she's at the inn at the crossroads, then she's not going to Winterfell. She's not heading north. She's actually gone south. So it could mean that she's not ready yet to go home. She might have some unfinished business, or she might just be ashamed and believes that she wouldn't be welcome. Now, it could be hot pie that she's looking at, which would be cool. And a lot of people have said that it's hot pie. But if hot pie's there, then that's the inn of the Kneeling Man, which is also south of the Twins, because that's where hot pie was left. That's west of the inn of the crossroads, but still very much south of the Twins and Winterfell. So again, she's going south if she's at an inn, basically. It might just be, I'm trying to work out why Hot Pie would be there. And a Hot Pie reunion would be really, really cool, but I'm just not sure how having Hot Pie back would serve the plot, especially when we've got such a short period of time. It could be that he's there to remind her that she's not as alone as she thinks she is. Or if she's in two minds, whether to go north to Winterfell or not, perhaps she's going to receive some of that Hot Pie wisdom just at the moment when she needs it.
This is some tinfoil here. I actually just thought of this right now, but perhaps she could be looking at the old version of Melisandre. That would be interesting. She doesn't look like she's too shocked, but I don't know. It's either Hot Pie or someone she knows. But maybe it's a moment where she has this strange feeling that she's met someone before, and perhaps it's old Melisandre, because we do know that Melisandre was banished from Winterfell, and I believe the only really interaction we'll probably see from Melisandre before she dies is probably going to be with Arya and the Brotherhood Without Banners.
Whoever she is looking at has such a presence in the room that it is causing the men sitting behind her to look up and look at this person as well. This could be the Hound or the Brotherhood, maybe even Melisandre. And when I talked about this in my video, a bunch of people, kind of like just what Cal said that they're probably, or she's probably looking at Hot Pie, but I don't think so. I don't think Hot Pie would gain the attention of the men sitting behind her too. Maybe this is the scene with Ed Sheeran when he's singing. I mean, who really knows? But I don't think it's Hot Pie. I think it's someone of more importance, someone that has a bigger presence than that draws the attention of the entire room.
Ed Sheeran doesn't have a presence. He's a ginger tosser. Anywho.
You're a ginger.
In which instance I'm allowed to say that. Anyway, if it's, I've got a question for you guys. If it is old Melisandre, then given Arya's abilities, her faceless abilities, could she possibly see through that disguise somehow? What do we think about that?
That's really interesting, because we know that she's assumed a bunch of different identities, and perhaps she's come to the point where she's wise and she can just, because part of what the Faceless Men do is observing, and the Faceless Men are based off the Hashashin, which is like this ancient order back in the day in Persia, and one of the main things that they used to learn was observing kings and queens. So they would basically hire these people and they would observe all of their moves and stuff like that, and then they would gain the information to gain some sort of edge to infiltrate the royal guard or whatever, and then perform some sort of nefarious act. So I think that could be a situation that goes down. I mean, that's pretty interesting, Gemma. I've never thought of that maybe she's just at the point, like, you know, she doesn't have her warging ability, but like, you know, she has this ability to kind of see through people's faces to see their true intention.
I think if anyone could see through that, the old Melisandre, I think it would be Arya, yeah.
I think even in the books when she's training, in her Faceless Men training, the old man with the ugly hands tells her, like, a sharp eye can see through glamour. So, yeah, glamour probably does have its flaws, and she would be the one to see it. Oh, that would be badass. But since we're on the topic of Melisandre and her glamour and Arya, so Melisandre told Arya that they would meet again. And I have this belief, I did a whole video on it, that it's probably, it could be wrong. It could be wrong. It's probably wrong. But I have this belief that for the show, they will merge Melisandre and the Ghost of High Heart's storylines, kind of what they did with Gendry and Edric. They've already kind of did that a little bit back in, I think it was season 3. Do you think we will get an unglamored Melisandre? And if Arya meets her, what will Arya do? Will she kill her?
We will definitely see Melisandre again as an old woman. She did post a photo recently of herself in that makeup as the old woman, and this was right at the tail end of the filming news, so I do think it was for a scene that's taken place in season 7. I think Melisandre will probably travel this way in disguise in order to infiltrate back into the north without being killed by Jon or any of his men. I do think Arya and Melisandre will meet again, and I think this can go down one or two ways. Arya may kill her right on the spot if she knows it's Melisandre when they meet again. Melisandre said they would meet, but that doesn't mean Arya will know it's her when they meet again. But if Arya does meet Melisandre and she knows it's Melisandre, the only way I can see her getting out of this alive is if she knows Arya is related to Jon. She can tell Arya she saved Jon's life by bringing him back, and perhaps that would be enough for Arya to give her a pass.
Yeah, that's some pretty interesting information, Dan. And maybe it's not the Brotherhood without banners that brings Arya back. Maybe we have a situation where the old crone Melisandre she knows her way back to Winterfell. Maybe that will be a thing. And, you know, she'd be a little bit less safe because it's two women traveling together in the tough roads of Westeros. But perhaps that's a situation that can go down.
I think the idea of merging that character, Mel, with the Ghost of High Heart is really, really interesting. They've done that a lot with a lot of characters. I mean, Jorah's got John Connington's Grayscale. There's, like Gray said, the Edric Storm and Gendry. The Ghost of High Heart's prophecies have pretty much, they were all in the Storm of Swords. And the prophecies, I mean, they were eerily accurate. Probably the most accurate of all the prophecies that we've seen, maybe on par with Maggie the Frog. All of her prophecies have either already happened or are about to happen during the course of the Storm of Swords, with one exception. No, there's two exceptions. One, the prince that was promised, being born of the line of Aerys and Rhaella. That's an unconfirmed prophecy. But the second one was the giant that was going to be slayed in the castle. Now, I know everyone's going to say, oh no, that was Sweet Robin and the Snow Castle that Arya made and the doll and blah blah blah. But the thing is, the Ghost of High Heart's prophecies were all about kings dying, like some serious prophecies. And then in the midst of all these really, really heavy prophecies, she has a prophecy about a snowball fight. It just doesn't make sense. So that's got to come back to Littlefinger being the giant. His house's old symbol was the Titan of Braavos before he changed it to the Mockingbird. And I think if Mel was a merge of the Ghost of High Heart, it's possible that she could either give Arya this prophecy or be instrumental in some way to Littlefinger's downfall. And Sansa is the maid that's going to slay the giant in the Castle of Snow. That's going to be in Winterfell. And I think Sansa's going to do it through Arya. And I think that's how the Ghost of High Heart's going to be woven into this story.
Yeah, I agree. That would be crazy. I also think that it could be Littlefinger and tinfoil. I also think that the Ghost of High Heart and Melisandre are similar. I think they're both have some Children of the Forest blood in them. They both have red eyes, and they both could be Greenseers. And I think that when Melisandre is at the wall, her powers are stronger because of the trees, because she might be a Greenseer. But that's tinfoil. I'm not going to take you guys down the tinfoil hole or rabbit hole or make you eat any tinfoil pie. Kyle, episode 1, season 7. What do you think Arya's up to?
I'm going to keep this one short and sweet because we were talking about this one earlier and all of you guys have amazing points, but she's going to be pretending to be Walder Frey. She's going to get rid of the rest of the Freys. She's going to go free her uncle Edmure and take off the face of Walder Frey. And then she's going to head on her way back home at some point. So I believe she'll head back to Winterfell. She'll be back in Winterfell by episode 3, but that's going to be the process. I think that she's going to be wearing Walder Frey's face for episode 1. And then we'll see. We'll be like, what? Why is... Oh, yeah, we'll make the connection. We'll be like, oh, okay, yeah, Arya's wearing his face, and she's going to do some really fucked up shit with Walder Frey's face.
I really have nothing to add to that. I pretty much made the same exact notes. I said she's going to wipe out the rest of the Freys, possibly freeing Edmure, because we do know that Walder Frey said to Jaime that Edmure was back in the cells, and then I think after that she's going to head back up north. So yeah, I have nothing to add to that.
Yeah, exactly the same. She's going to have to clean up at the twins and get that storyline done and dusted, at least as far as the show's concerned for the Freys. I don't think she's going to head to Winterfell straight away. I think she's going to go south because both of the inns that she could be in are both south, but that doesn't mean she's going to hang around there for very long. So yeah, ultimately she'll be in Winterfell.
Bingo, bango, bongo. Is it a clean sweep, Gray?
Yep, I agree. Walder Frey's face, episode 1. what are you guys most excited to see with Arya's storyline?
I'm most excited to see her really becoming Arya Stark again. Now she's got all these badass skills and she's clearly not someone to be messed with. She's potentially going to be quite an asset to Jon in his fight against the White Walkers. I don't think that the Stark reunion that we're going to have is going to be plain sailing, though. I think Arya's need for vengeance is going to destroy her ultimately. And I think Jon will see this in her and is going to find it quite disturbing. There's going to be this merging of Arya and Lady Stoneheart, and she might not go back to Winterfell right away. I'm excited about the Lady Stoneheart plotline, but for very different reasons. What I want to see is Arya and Jon.
Yeah, Gemma, I'm right there with you. I definitely want to see the reuniting of Arya and Jon. You spoke earlier that you felt it was a great moment when Jon and Sansa had that moment together, and they weren't really close. So I think that if that does actually happen, that will be one of the best top 3 or 4 moments of the season. I do think that her even reuniting with Sansa, even them being apart, we actually see the conversation between Theon and Sansa last season, and I think that Sansa's warming up to the option of her family getting back together. So I think that Arya and Sansa would be really cool to get back together, because I think that eventually they're going to put their differences aside and really become a team to be reckoned with.
I'm also very excited about all the potential there is for all these, pretty much a serious amount of reunions for Arya next season. She could potentially reunite with Jon, Sansa, Bran, Nymeria, Gendry, the Brotherhood, the Hound, Melisandre. I mean, there's so many different people Arya has crossed paths with before, and there's potential for her to cross paths with all of those people again. There are so many possibilities right now, and I think even if we only get half of those reunions next season, it'll be very exciting and very interesting for very different reasons.
Yeah, you guys, I really want to see all the reunions and all of that, but the reunion I'm most excited for is the Nymeria reunion. Like, the direwolves are one of my favorite parts. I've been heartbroken with the deaths of Summer, Shaggy Dog, Lady, and Grey Wind. It would be so dope to see Arya hug Nymeria. Nymeria and Ghost reunion could be epic. Like, do you guys think Ghost and Nymeria could make direwolf puppies?
No.
No incest anymore. There's enough of that with the Targaryens. No wolf incest.
Well, wolves are similar to dogs, and dogs do crossbreed like that a lot, so it could happen. I think it could happen, and I think it'd be very cool. And Gray, I know I said this to you privately. We know George originally wanted Jon and Arya to have this relationship together, so perhaps that could be a different way for them to still do that through Nymeria and Ghost. I don't know if it will happen, but that would be very cool. And could you imagine the Starks getting another litter of direwolves? I think that'd be fantastic.
Boom!
The next
You heard it here
generation.
first.
Wow. That's gasoline. Put some gasoline on the fire,
baby.
Daniel.
You heard it first from Dan, Talking Thrones.
Direwolf babies.
Now I'm on board, actually. I want to see wolf babies now. I take my comment back. My comment was fake news.
Without their mother having a deer antler in her throat.
Yeah, seriously.
By the end of season 7, where do you think Arya is and what will she be doing? And if she meets Daenerys, what will she think of her?
By the end of season 7, I think Arya will be in Winterfell, hopefully putting Littlefinger out of his misery if he isn't already dead at this point. I think she will be reunited with her family, but probably not all of them at the same time. And what will she think of the Dragon Queen? That's a good question. Arya will probably be a bit standoffish at first, but I think if Jon and Dany have a good relationship and alliance at this point, then I think Arya will respect her, but they probably won't be buddy-buddy or anything like that. Arya has that warrior mentality now, and Dany is a bit of a diva in many ways, kind of like a girly girl, so I don't know if their personalities will mesh, but I don't see them clashing unless Dany does something drastic that could maybe cause Arya to fear for Jon's safety. Like, if Arya thinks Dany is being careless about Jon's safety, then I could see that causing a problem.
Yeah, I think Arya, at the end of season 7, she'll have seen to Littlefinger, no doubt. And that's something I'm really looking forward to seeing. She might join the Brotherhood without banners. I can't see her settling down. I do think she has a major role to play in season 8. I think she has a part to play in the War for the Dawn with Jon Snow and his war against the White Walkers, and that comes back to her having Needle prized from her cold dead hands. I think she's going to die in that, but that's not going to happen till season 8. Yeah, she might still be at Winterfell, but I don't think she's going to hang around for long. She doesn't seem to be the type now to just sort of settle down. I think Sansa will be more likely to stay as the Lady of Winterfell. I think Arya's too restless, and she'll want to be out and about.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with that one. I think Winterfell is what's going to be happening. Obviously, we're going to be shifting a little bit away from King's Landing and more towards the north as the War for Dawn starts coming around. That's going to be the main plot point in season 8. So I think this is going to be not a setup season, but there's going to be a lot of setting up for season 8. And as far as Arya meeting Daenerys, I don't know. I think they would kind of respect each other. I mean, they told each other's stories. I mean, they've got a bit in common. But I don't know. I think that Arya is more grounded than that, and she may see Daenerys as a bit of a priss, you know, someone that's kind of demanding and stuff like that. But who knows? Daenerys does have some very good qualities about her, and she did free slaves in Essos and whatnot. So maybe they could get along, but I don't think that's going to happen in season 7.
Yeah, I'm on board with what all of you guys are saying. Y'all are just dropping that fire, taking words right out of my mouth and stuff today. So do you guys have any final thoughts?
Arya's going to die, but not till season 8, so don't worry.
I don't approve of that. I don't approve that message. I love you so much, but I don't approve that message.
Gemma, you almost
happening
there with the fake out. Like, you're like, that's not going to happen until season 8. Trying to trigger me again.
In the words of Kyle, revolt in the comments at this clusterfuckery that's going on here.
Yeah, I just want to say to everyone out there, I think they should be very optimistic about Arya's story during season 7. I know there were a lot of disappointed people because of how Arya's story played out in season 6 in Bravos, but I think this year you shouldn't worry about that. I think now that Arya is back in Westeros, there are so many options on the table. I think her story, she's about to start intertwining with all the main characters again, and with her particular set of skills, I think this could end up being the most exciting season for Arya's character.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Season 6 for Arya was just plain painful at points. It really was. I was sort of sat there thinking, come on, let's just get onto something interesting, and that's bad. You know, when you're wishing that those scenes would just skip. The storyline was really weird. I wasn't sure where it was going, and there were that when she got stabbed, that was just so unrealistic that she got stabbed repeatedly and the knife was twisted. And we've seen people in Game of Thrones die for far less than that, so that was a real shame that they did that. So Dan and Dave are very aware of the criticism that they got for that. So I think they'll be seeking to really redeem themselves with Arya in season 7 for sure. So I think we've got some really, really excellent things to look forward to for her storyline.
Now, I know the book and the show, people like to separate those, but if it's any indication, The Winds of Winter, a lot of people are speculating that this is going to be the best book in George's series. We got some sample chapters that are really amazing. The Forsaken chapter, if that's any indication of how the book is going to be, I think that if a lot of this influence is going to be happening in the show, we know that Dan and Dave do still have a lot of the book stuff in the show. Don't get it twisted. They do change a few things, but this is based on George's books. I think that this could possibly be the best season yet. We got a little bit of probably The Winds of Winter last season, and we're going to get the bulk of that in this season. So I think I'm going to go on a limb and say that season 7, even though it's only 7 episodes, it's going to be the best season of Game of Thrones yet. Get hype.
I needed that because I'm so depressed we don't have Winds of Winter yet. Like, I'm just depressed. I'm like, yeah, take your time, George R.R. Martin, but I really need that book in my life. I really need it.
Yeah, like, we really, really need it because some of these theories are driving me insane now. I seem to be concluding every single theory with, and when The Winds of Winter comes out, we'll find out. Yo, come on, George.
It's always fun when we link up. Hashtag Goldcast Squad. Would you guys like to tell everyone where they can find you?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at Citadel Secrets. I'm also on Facebook too, but I mentioned before I'm terrible at going on Facebook. I don't like Facebook. So contact me on Twitter. I'm also on YouTube, obviously, Secrets of the Citadel. And there's also now an official Golden Company playlist with all of our previous videos on, and I'll let Kyle and Dan tell you all about those.
Yeah, so on each of our channels going forward, as Gemma said, we're going to have a playlist for you. It all starts off with Jon Snow, the future of Jon Snow, parts 1 and 2 from Dan, and then we have Cersei parts 1 and 2 from Secrets of the Citadel. If you go to our channels and you go to our homepage, you'll see playlists from each of us, so you guys can just go click and go take a look at all the videos in succession. I think that is going to be really fun once we start getting more and more videos, a lot of content to keep you guys busy during the long night. We know that season 7 is coming closely, but make sure you go check out all of the videos from the rest of the Golden Company. We are going to be making more, but yeah, some really, really awesome content on Talking Thrones and Gemma's channel. Really excited for this video to come out, Gray. Thank you so much for having me on. You guys know it's me, the one true Chicken King, Kyle's fucking chickens. I'm excited to be doing these gold casts with you, and I look forward to doing some more. Thanks for having me.
I want to thank you again for having me on your channel, Gray Area. I always have a good time discussing these characters with the Golden Company. I hope everyone out there listening enjoyed it as much as we did. You can find me on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook, all under the same name, Talking Thrones. Thanks for joining us today, everyone, and I'll see you all down in the comment section. Bye.
Thanks for watching, guys. Make sure you subscribe to my Bannerman. I will link all their channels below. Like this video if you like it. Thanks for all your support. Okay, my sweet summer children.
And if you don't like, comment, or subscribe, I'm going to have to eat every fucking chicken in
this place.
Guys, we need to redo that one.
Why?
We got to know your pacing.
Okay, let's do it again.
Nice.
Yeah, we were too slow. Okay, do it again.
And if you don't like, comment, or subscribe, I'm gonna have to eat every fucking chicken in this place.
Okay.
Okay, here we go. And if you don't like, comment, or subscribe, I'm gonna have to eat every fucking chicken in this place.
In this place.
Shit.
In this place.
In this place. You know what? Fuck right off. Fuck right off.
In this place. We gotta practice on ours.
Wow.
In this place.
You should just leave all
In
this
this place.
Oh my god. Thanks for watching, and 7 blessings, everyone.
Bye.
Vala Magules.
Valor
Valada Harris.
For fuck's sakes.